My name is Mary Elizabeth Miller, representing Texas Tech University, El Paso Health Sciences. Stephanie was 5 when she started shaking. She became confused and she had a seizure. The severity of that seizure required her to be placed into a month-long medical-induced coma. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Insulin and other pharmaceuticals she was administered saved her life. Danielle was born in 2017. As she tried to take her first breath, she turned blue. She was diagnosed with Pierre-Robin syndrome, which is a jaw and cleft palate deformity so severe that it blocked her own airway. If it weren't for analgesic drugs, antibiotics, and pain medication, she never would have survived the traumatic surgeries that she has had to endure. I, for one, have heard the horror stories of the high cost of pharmaceuticals and the belief that pharmaceutical companies are just corporate money-hungry powerhouses. But there is another reality to this narrative. Pharmaceuticals cost billions of dollars to develop. They don't just pay out one person to make a cheap drug and sell it at 500% profit. They pay scientists, doctors, volunteers, and pay for facilities in upwards of $31 to $81 million decades at a time for just one drug or vaccine. People forget we don't need just one drug or vaccine. We need hundreds of them. The people behind the scenes employed by the pharmaceutical companies are there because pharmaceutical science supports their humanitarian beliefs. Anaï became a pharmaceutical chemist because a close family member became infected with HIV and suffered from AIDS. Now she has been working on finding a cure for HIV for 7 years, and she believes she is close to the answer. Every scientist out there has their reason why they are searching for cures. That motive allows them to spend years of their lives dedicated to helping others, and pharmaceutical companies pay for that. Multiple sclerosis is basically when your muscles disintegrate, slowly or quickly, depends on the case. For Caitlin, it was faster than she expected, and it was painful to go from a life of normalcy to one having to ask for help to go to the bathroom or put on pants. She couldn't find a drug that could help her, so she chose to go to the National Institute of Health for a clinical trial. For 4 years, she received top-tier health care, close medical attention from doctors and scientists. She was compensated, and her multiple sclerosis progression began to slow, and she felt relief from pain. She began to regain control of her own body because of pharmaceuticals. In 1952, 6-year-old Paul spent 5 days in bed with his coloring books as his mom tried to reduce his fever. On the 6th day, Paul couldn't hold his crayons anymore. He couldn't walk anymore either. He had polio, which had killed or paralyzed 600,000 people, mostly children, in that same year. It was an epidemic disease that kept children home as their mothers feared the worst until a vaccine was produced in 1955. Since then, many more vaccines for terrible infections like measles, meningitis, diphtheria, and tetanus have been developed, allowing us to live longer, healthier lives. Until today. Until this very moment where I'm recording this speech because I am inside my own home, fearing going outside and becoming infected with COVID-19, the novel, deadly infection for which there is no cure or vaccine. Our hope relies on pharmaceuticals as we will them to quickly develop a drug or vaccine. This can only mean one thing, that in order for the majority to survive, for our children to survive, to embrace living without fear, our world needs pharmaceuticals. Thank you.